are in lesson I6, drawing and using our trend lines. So we want to draw a trend line that's an approximate linear relationship to a scatter plot. Would you say this is a strong or weak correlation of all the dots? Pretty strong, but it's not on an exact same straight line, right? Yeah. So I would take, if you either told me that this was weak or if you said it was strong, but it is definitely linear, right? And so when you put a trend line, okay, a line that models it, you want half the data points above, turn please to the front, no, not right now, half the data points above and below that line. So it says, does the straight line model the general pattern for this data? For this one, yeah, it models it pretty good, right? If we are looking at that, it's a pretty decent model of that one, if we are looking at it. So now the next page down in your notes. Whoa. It says, what information do you need in order to write an equation for a line? What are the two things that I have up on that front board? What do we need? We need the M and the B. We need the slope and the y-intercept, right? The slope is our M. The y-intercept is our B, right? We need the slope and y-intercept. So take a look at the black line. As you look at the black line, y-intercept, right? Y-intercept is on the y line. Anytime we are finding our y-intercept, that's our beginning, that's on the y line. Y-intercept goes back here. So can you write for each of these below the red line, black line, and blue line, can you put this form of the equation and just leave blanks? You could. Please do that now. Y-intercept of the black line is where? 3. So right now I know the last number in this first one for the black line has to be 3. What do I know my slope is? My movement. Pick 2 of the black points. 2 over 2, which is the same as? 2 divided by 2 is the same as, so my equation. Someone want to give it to me? Y equals x plus 2, or if I had 1x plus, not 2, but 3. Okay? And if you put a 1x, I'm never going to mark that wrong. So now let's try the red and the blue line. Don't say it out loud. Please write it. Try the red line and the blue line. So if I'm always looking for my y-intercept first, right? Someone want to tell me what I have for the second equation? Y equals, raise your hand. What do you have here? 2x. And you said what? Plus 1 or minus 1?
Negative. Oh,
minus 1. Okay? Minus 1, because we're down here, our start was negative 1. Someone said, can I put 2 over 1? Yeah, that works too, right? Do the last equation, the blue line. Blue line, y-intercept is, this one is at positive 1, but using the 2 points, what do we know is our slope, positive or negative descent? Negative. Negative slope. Remember that face beginning of the, or earlier this year? So y equals, Gunnar, do you have it? Negative 1, 4. Negative 1, 4. Okay, does that make sense? Thank you. Okay? All right. So, you are going to be using this to do our homework tonight, right? We're going to be using this to do our homework. So, problem 2, as we take a look. So, it says a trend line is a line on a scatter plot drawn near the points. Key thing, near the points. Shh. Wait. Shh. Don't. It shows. So, Stephen, no. So we're going to draw a line near the point that shows a correlation. So that kind of relationship where there are same number of points above and below the line. So you want the same number of points above it as you have below it. Sometimes it ends up going right through your data points. Other times it does not. It says the 2 sets of data show a positive and a negative correlation. You can use a trend line for a correlation to see it more clearly. A trend line is a line on the scatter plot drawn near the points that shows the correlation. You may use trend lines to estimate a value between 2 known values and predict values outside that range. So if we are looking at these next 2, I want you to take a look at this first one. These were the data points that someone did their line of, when they did their the mass of a car, the weight of the car, and the braking distance in meters. So if you think of your weight of your car and the braking distance, they drew this line. Now in this one for Nevada, is it as easy to draw a straight line? Not as easy, because it kind of, this is the one that some of you even the other day told me non-linear. But if I looked at this, I could maybe say, you know what, I think this is like maybe half my points above or below, something like this, right? It's not great, but that could be a line that I could use, right? This one was a little better. So, taking a look at the next page in your notes. Yep, going down. Writing equations for trend lines. First thing you have to do in your homework tonight is make a scatter plot. That's what they did down here. They plotted all these points, okay? Once you have plotted the points, you're going to draw a trend line, a straight line that patterns that. So you're going to have a straight edge, and I'll get out protractors again for you to use. And it then asks you to write an equation. Now, when we go to write our equation, here is the key thing. You need to know the beginning. Where is our beginning, our y-intercept? That's 0 and a number. And we need to know the slope. Stephen, as you're looking up here, it said, we want to pick 2 points on our line. So, if we pick 2 points on our line, at 4, right, we have 17.1, and it looks like at 8, we have 37.8. So we're looking at 4 and 8. Remember, slope is the change in y divided by change in x. If you don't have a calculator, I'd like you to grab one right now. We are going to take our y values, our 37.9 minus 17.1. Our x values were 8 minus 4. Negative 2.5. So once we have that point, we now have our y-intercept. So the question said to write an equation. If you are writing an equation, we can now write our equation. Y equals, what was our slope or rate of change? 5x. And we said going back to plus a negative 2.5, or you could have just had minus 2.5. Now, on the test for this unit, I'm going to ask you to approximate the weight of a 7-month-old panda. The age is in what? X or Y? Age is what?
Y.
Age is X. So what I'm really asking you to do here is to find when X equals 7, what does Y equal? And on the test, I am going to tell you to use the equation. So, you're going to use this equation, and you're going to put 5, but instead of putting x, we are going to put in 7 minus 2.5. So, 35 minus 2.5 gives us a weight of 32.5 pounds, right? This was 7 months. Does that look, if you go to the graph at 7 months, right, here's 7. If you look, could that be about 32.5 if we go across? Possibly, right? Did you write this down?
I will.
Okay, do it as we're doing it, then we don't have to wait, right? So, when you look at this, how can you check it to make sure? Well, if the numbers are in between, you would kind of go and go, yeah, that makes sense. It's less than 36 and it's more than 24 and it's halfway, a little over halfway between. So at 7 months, 32.5 pounds makes sense, okay? If I asked you for 15 months, you can't check it on your graph, right? You would have to just assume that this panda's weight and age just keeps going on this straight line. Do you think it keeps going forever and ever on that straight line? That would be kind of weird, right? It's kind of like if you kept, every year you kept getting taller and taller and taller, or their weight kept going up and up and up, and hopefully we usually hit a maximum or kind of plateau. So, okay, so they plotted this next one on the top of the next page. I don't know, it's hard to know. So this time they're looking at the body length of the panda and their age in months. So first thing we want to do is draw a trend line. And that straight line. Okay? You want to make sure, as you look at it, half your data points are above and half are below. So when you try to draw your line, maybe something like that, right? Yours might be close to that. Here's the deal, some people might draw theirs and have it being, maybe more like this, right? So you have two different options. You just want to draw one line. Now, after you draw your line, we want to write an equation. So to write an equation, we need two things. The start point, the b, and we need our slope. Can you tell the start point, the y-intercept, by looking at my graphs? It's like 5, right? Right here. On the y, that's my y-intercept, right? So if I can identify that point, I'm going to say that my b is equal to 5, but now I need my slope. I need my rate of change. Change in y over change in x. And you got to watch the scale. So if I go from this point 5, 0, 5, up to, this looks like a good point, right on my line.
What if I was not the same as yours?
Yours not the same, then use your points, but I just want to show you for when we're looking at this. So again, how far up did I go from 5 to 20? My rise is how much? 15. How much am I going over from 0 to 4? Over 4. So I'm going to take 15 and divide it by 4. Now if yours isn't close to that, kind of look at yours, but my guess is that it's pretty close to that. Divide. 15 divided by 4. We got about?
5.
Oh my. So if we went over, we went over 5, not 4.
Oh.
So we're about 3. What if I looked at like a different line? Did anyone have different, like I had some people other years we've gotten 2.5. I've had some people get 3.25 on theirs, and I had some people get 3.5. But what you are looking at is that change divided by change in y over change in x. So our new equation, if we are going to predict it, we are going to have our equation being y equals, in this case, 3x plus 5.
Wow.
7-month-old panda. X equals 7. 10-month-old panda. It's not on our graph. X equals 10. Go to your equation, y equals 3 times 7 plus 5. 3 times 10 plus 5. Our first one we would be looking at being about, we're talking about length now. So about, we have 21 plus 5, which gives us 26 inches. This next one, 30 plus 5 would give us about 35 inches. And let's just check at 7 months. Does that make sense that we had 26 if we look at 7 months? That was pretty close, right? It was 25 for 7 months. I mean, that's a pretty good estimate depending on the line, right? So that would be pretty close. So we can assume this is going to be pretty close. So then the last question, this will be similar on your test for this unit. I'm going to say, well, what is the slope? We found our slope to be what? 3. And then it's going to say, well, what does this mean in the context of this problem? So in terms of this problem, what is the 3 standing for? 3 what? 3 inches of growth, 1 month. It means theirs was 2.5. We didn't have 2.5. We had 3. So we're going to use 3. It means that every month the panda gains about 3 inches in body weight. Rise over run came out to be 3 divided by 1
or 3 inches in 1 9-year month. Okay, every 1 month. So, test question looks kind of like this one. When you are looking at it, where you are asked to find all those different things, okay? You want to find the trend line, so this is going back to all the stuff we did before. So in your homework tonight, you just have questions 1 to 9 that you are looking at. What I would like you to do right now is in your work